I've always regretted this moment. The moment of my death. Yeah, you heard me. I'm a dead man alive. And you're holding the story of how it all happened. But I'm telling you, be warned. There are some unholy, unworldly forces that have seeped deep into the core of this thing. Dark, terrible secrets.
I wish I'd taken that advice. For me, it all started as a much-needed escape. Just a simple vacation. But I was about to find out that some roads are best left untraveled, and some doors are never, ever meant to be opened.
My name is Adam Jukas. And yeah, this pretty much sums up my life back then. Just a slacker cop drowning in paperwork day in and day out. I had to get away from the concrete jungle of New York, so I planned this trip down to Virginia. All I wanted was a little peace and quiet. But my perfect vacation, cruising in my shiny Bentley Continental, was about to hit a dead end. Seriously, before I even got close to my destination, it felt like nature itself was trying to send me a warning. A torrential rain just started to fall, the drops hammering on my windshield with this deafening, hypnotic beat. I was completely isolated, totally cut off from everything. And the feeling, it wasn't just that I felt lost. No, I truly was lost. And out there, in that storm, the world just started to break. Just think about this for a second. At 10:03, my engine sputters and dies. Exactly 1 minute later, a tree the size of a building crashes down, sealing me in. Then, just 15 minutes later, after everything I experienced in that cafe, the tree is gone. Just vanished. I mean, how is that even possible? So, with my car dead and the road blocked by that phantom tree, this little cafe was my only option. I figured, hey, I could find someone inside, get some help, or at the very least, grab a coffee to clear my head from the building stress. But the moment I stepped inside, this icy wave of silence just hit me. It wasn't just quiet. It was a total absence of sound. My own breathing felt way too loud. My mind started racing. What was wrong with this place? Was there a curse on it? A plague? The silence was just screaming. Then, a female voice from the shadows made me jump.
Yes, sir?
It was a blonde waitress. When she brought my coffee, I happened to look into her eyes, and I saw nothing. Just two pools of unnatural, completely empty black. I literally flinched, and a moment later, they were just normal blue eyes. But that first glance, that was a warning. I sat down, the cup of coffee steaming in front of me. As I went to take a sip, I saw it in the reflection on the liquid's dark surface, a shapeless thing moving across the ceiling. My head snapped up, nothing. I looked back down at the coffee, heart pounding, and there it was again. Something was deeply, deeply wrong here. I left the coffee, left the money, and I ran. I thought I had escaped. I really thought I had found safety.
I got my car started, somehow, and drove for about 20 minutes before I found a local motel, the Leafy Nut. For a moment, just a single, blessed moment, I let myself believe the nightmare was over.
Her name was Catalili Nut, and she was so normal. Kind, chatty, attractive. Just her presence was a comforting, solid relief after the wrongness of that cafe. I checked into my room, which was right next to hers, stashed my M9 pistols on the bedside table, and just collapsed onto the cozy bed.
I don't know how long I was asleep, but I was woken up by a sound, a soft scraping. When I got to the door, I found a photograph had been slipped underneath. And this is when the nightmare truly began. At first, it was a picture of me at the cafe, holding the coffee cup, smiling, which I definitely don't remember doing. But as I stared at it, the image began to shift, to actually warp in my hands. My expression turned tense, and my eyes, they started to bleed into black, just as dark and empty as the waitress's. Just then, I felt something wet and sticky drip onto my head. I touched it. My fingers came away red. It was blood. My eyes shot up to the ceiling, expecting a leak, a crack, a stain. But there was nothing, just a blank, white, perfect ceiling. Panicked, I threw open my door to find the corridor eerily silent, all the other doors wide open into these pits of blackness. And as I walked toward the lobby to get my shotgun, another drop of blood hit my forehead. This time when I looked up, God, I wish I hadn't. It was Catalili. Her body was stuck to the ceiling with some grotesque, gooey adhesive, blood just streaming from her neck. Frozen in horror, I saw her. The waitress from the cafe, standing at the end of the hall. Her fingernails were long and sharp, like scissors covered in drawing blood. I was stuck to the floor by that same gooey substance, couldn't move. She slowly walked toward me, her face shifting and blurring, and while I was mesmerized by the horror, she pounced, sinking those scissor-like fingers right into my neck. Then everything just went black.
I woke up with a gasp, drenched in sweat. It had to be a nightmare, right? A horrible, vivid nightmare? But then I saw it. The photograph, the one with my darkened eyes, was resting on my bedside table. And my M9 pistols, they were gone.
And this is where things get really interesting, how reality itself just fractured. Just as I was processing the missing guns, there's a knock on the door. It was Kat Lee, alive, cheerful, asking if I was feeling unwell. She suggested we go to the local cafe, a place she called a Wonder Palace. My nightmare versus her bright, sunny morning. Which one was real? I mean, what would you believe?
Against my better judgment, I let her guide me back to that same cafe. And when I pushed open the doors, it was normal. Bustling with people, laughing, talking, just a regular cafe. If I told anyone what I'd seen there last night, they'd think I was a total madman. But I knew. I knew I had to investigate. That evening, I retrieved my Remington shotgun from the lobby and drove back to that devilish cafe. I was done being a victim. I was going hunting. But this is where everything I thought I knew completely fell apart.
The fabric of reality was just tearing, with every single glance. I peeked inside, full of people, noise, life. I looked away for just a second and peeked again, completely empty, silent, except for the flickering lights. I slammed the door shut, reopened it, pitch blackness, like staring into a void. One last time, I cracked the door open, and she was there, standing in the center of the room as if she'd been waiting for me all along.
I dove into my car, but I wasn't alone. A hand was on my shoulder. It was Cataly, in my back seat. But her eyes, they were glowing, pinning me in place. I couldn't breathe, couldn't fight. It felt like my own body was betraying me as she hypnotized me. Knowing this thing wasn't the real Cataly, I fought for control, raised my shotgun, and fired.
After the incident, I ran back to the motel on foot, desperate for some kind of sanctuary. But it was gone, completely transformed. Every window, every door, boarded up with thick wooden planks. I mean, it would have taken a construction crew hours to do that, but I'd only been gone for half an hour. It was impossible. I was trapped outside in her twisted world. Eventually, I made my way back to the motel again, and this time, the boards were gone, but the building was just a black shape against the night sky. I put all my weight into the main door, shoving it open into absolute, suffocating darkness. The moment I was inside, the heavy door slammed shut behind me with a boom that just echoed in the blackness.
I couldn't see a thing. Total sensory deprivation. But I could hear it. That distinct, chilling scrape of metal on leather. The sound of a blade being drawn from its scabbard. I wasn't alone in there. But this time, I was ready for a fight.
And that's where my story pauses, trapped in the dark, with a shotgun in my hands, and an unseen enemy preparing to strike. So now, you have to wonder what happens next. You have to wonder, what's in the dark with me?